Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hi guys, and welcome to 1MinuteTennis.com. In today's session, I want to talk to you about the serve, and I want to go into real detail about the role of the wrist and the role of the upper arm, and how you can get the precise and exact movements that will add power to your serve and probably make it easier and with less effort. Now, there are two areas of the serve that a lot of players, it's not that you get it wrong, it's just that it could be better. There's always a better way. And that is the upper arm here and the contraction that you create, and then the shape and roll of the wrist. I'm going to begin with the upper arm, and then I'll move to the wrist, and then show you how you can make these changes into your serve and get almost instant results. Now, whenever we use muscles, in this case it's the bicep, then we're talking about contractions. And there are essentially three types of contraction. A concentric contraction is where we raise weight in this fashion. An eccentric is where we resist, and eccentric is where we extend and lengthen the muscle. So, for example, if you were curling a weight, this would be concentric, and then as you support the motion going down and don't let it just drop, then that becomes an eccentric contraction as the bicep lengthens. Now, when we look at this in terms of a movement in sport, a punch, a swipe, a stroke, then concentric contractions are a fantastic way of retaining energy. So they don't work very well if you're going to hit a tennis ball. You keep the power. Eccentric contractions are a great way of giving away energy. And then in terms of a punch or a throw or a serve, then it's a great way of actually hitting the ball and giving power to the ball. So what we need to do is make sure that as we make the movement, the arm's going to be fired upwards and the arm is elongated here as much as possible. With the racket in your hand, it's very hard to feel this. It's very hard to tell whether you're getting it right or whether you're controlling it and keeping this muscle short. But if I remove the racket and just swing with my arm and throw my arm away, you can maybe see the kind of judder and movement as the energy is thrown away and the arm elongates. It snaps longer and then snaps back. To do this, you have to be really loose. We want to create the feeling of the arm being thrown away. Once you get that feeling, and as I'm looking at the camera now with the arm in front of me, I can actually see this judder-like movement of the arm. Once you've created that feeling, then the natural thing to do is to add the racket and try and reproduce the feeling without the racket and with the racket. Now you've got an eccentric contraction of the upper arm, but the wrist. And the role of the wrist is kind of complex, because what happens is that we have a conscious movement where we pronate and turn the hand away from the body. But within that, we also have a movement called ulnar deviation, where the wrist moves out to the side, like so. And then we also have a movement called flexion. Now, this is often referred to as a wrist snap, but the reality is that flexion is a byproduct of ulnar deviation and pronation, which is a byproduct in itself of the extension of the upper arm here. So if you concentrate on the wrist snap, then you're going to lead from the wrist, and the rest of the arm is going to be pulled through. If you concentrate on extending from here, then the arm, hand, and racket are projected forwards. Again, to do this, we need to acquire the feel. And you'll get the feel much better without the racket than you will with the racket. So what I'm going to do now is reproduce the feeling of the eccentric contraction of the bicep, and I'm going to turn my hand away from the target area here. I'm going to turn my hand away from the target area, and I'm going to do it loosely. So I feel the eccentric contraction and turn the arm. And the result of this is that I can actually feel my thumb almost dislocated. There was so much energy went down my arm and into that position here. If I clench and tighten the muscles, it feels totally different. And now I make sure that I've got the eccentric contraction of the forearm, of the upper arm, and I now allow my hand to turn. And again, I could feel tremendous pressure on my thumb as the energy was thrown away. I add the racket and it actually protects my thumb, because now there's somewhere for the energy to go instead of dislocating the joint. And so now extension and pronation, extension and pronation, extension and pronation, The ulnar deviation is very hard to stop, so you don't really need to think too much about that. And the wrist snap, the flexion here, is simply a natural continuation of the energy that you've created from extension and pronation. It shouldn't be stopped, but it doesn't need to be encouraged. I hope this explanation makes sense, and you might want to work on one of these things at a time. So work on maybe making sure that the contraction of the bicep is an extended contraction, and then make sure that the hand is relaxed and turning away, and then put the two movements together. But when you put them together, you'll have a powerful, energized serve that's truly effortless. If you like my ideas, check out our books on Amazon. We provide very detailed breakdown of the strokes with the physics, the biomechanics, and the anatomy in great detail, and then super simple solutions helping you to really apply change to your game. Or join one of the players in over 34 countries all over the world who are enjoying one-to-one online coaching. It's really inexpensive, it's very different, but it really works. For more information, have a look at the website or email me. So make sure that you have an eccentric contraction of the upper arm. Relax the forearm, allow the wrist to turn, and the rest will take care of itself, and you'll have a better, faster, and easier serve today. Thanks for watching. See you next time for more unique tennis lessons that really work.